Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, sim fans, Racing 393, and welcome to Zero Heroes and Heroes. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to roll the clock back again, rFactor 1, and this time we're about 1984, around the Detroit Grand Prix circuit, which was a street circuit, and we're going to be in a Alfa Romeo. So you can see here, it looks very much like the McLaren livery of the day and can quite easily be confused. So this was called a Marlboro Alfa Romeo. The engine was the actual Alfa Romeo part. Again, a V8 turbocharged engine, somewhere around 10,500 RPM. The interesting thing though is the actual branding of this chassis is Benetton, which I must admit, I didn't know that. And it only it weighs in at about 620 kilograms, so very light, lots and lots of power. You know, reportedly in excess of 900 to 1,000 brake horsepower in qualifying trim, running on Michelin race tyres. So the secret to this is that we're going to do a track which is quite a famous street circuit of its time, the Detroit Grand Prix, and the driver of this car, hence the name, Zero Heroes and Heroes, are the unsung heroes of Formula 1, which I mentioned previously. The driver here is called Marlboro. As you can tell by the name, he's an Italian driver. And he only did, I don't know how many years, let me think. I did read it. Between 1982 and 1985 in Formula 1. 36 starts. So, not a lot. Never won anything. 5 career points. Not 82 South African Grand Prix, and then he finished in 85 San Marino. However, the reason he's a hero, he won the Triple Crown. He's only one of 12 drivers to have done this, and it's the Triple Crown in automobile endurance racing, and these three races are considered the most difficult and challenging races over decades of motorsport, and they include the 24 hours of Daytona, the 12 hours of Sebring, and the 24 hours of Le Mans. So Phil Hill was the first to do this. So the reason that I've picked him is that he is a very, very good racing driver, and probably one that I'd like to stick my neck out here, that if you ask anybody to name a racing driver from even a particular era, his name would not come up. Which is a shame, really, because I do remember him as a racing driver in Formula 1. And one of the things that struck to me, I was quite young then, so I was approaching my teens, and it's when I sort of took full notice of Formula 1, I suppose. Always a smiley, happy chap, but always at the back, always either crashing or not finishing in the points. Back, in that era, 85, 84, 85, somewhere in there. I mean, if you named anybody, you're gonna still name the likes of Senna, Mansell, PK, Keke Rosberg, Alan Jones. I think Alan Jones was racing then, but they're sort of the top name drivers. So hence why I'm sort of going to bring this chap up, and put him into my Zero Heroes and Heroes. So he's probably a zero hero for most people, but he's achieved a lot. So winning the Triple Crown, so I think he deserves a mention, if you like. Now, we're going to be going around the circuit shortly, It's a street circuit. It's a street circuit. No, it's a street circuit. 2.5 miles long in Detroit. A particularly a very hot part of the US. Temperatures well in excess of 80 degrees. And the race was usually over 63 laps. We are going to go around a lap, one of my better laps. That I recorded. And what I've tried to do is edit the lap. So I don't know if that's going to be possible. I don't know whether I'll be able to commentate on myself. I suppose, if I'm honest, it probably won't happen like I think it might. Main straight into turn 1, which is a 180 degree left-hander. Turns 2 and 3, right and then right. I've tried to do a little bit of editing as well. I'm not sure how this will work out. Turns 4, 5 and 6. Left-handers, which gradually sort of tighten up at the last bit here. This one is fairly tight. Got to be very careful not to hit the tyres, as I did many times. A slight sort of kink in a straight, heading up to turn 7 and turn 8. A left and then a right. And then on to one of the sort of very few straights of this circuit, leading into just under sort of a small tunnel there. Turn 9 and 10, a quick left and then right. Into another very short, this is called Jefferson Avenue, typical American name, Jefferson Avenue, here we are. Turn 11, 12 and 13. Very tight and technical here. Downhill. And we're coming up to another sort of hairpin. And coming into the Goodyear tunnel, which you'll see just ahead of you. There, so we're going through the tunnel. I did upset my editing there, so I had to a double take. So through the tunnel, into turns 16 and 17. A right then a left. You can still hear the turbo whining. And coming up to finish the lap, a quick chicane at the end, which I got rather close to the barrier. And across the line, done. Now, one of the most important things that I have forgotten. This wasn't a lap appreciation. It was more, as I said, a hero and a zero hero. People that you don't normally mention. If you a list of people, I would have thought Marlboro would be one that would pop up in conversation. But it would have been nice to put his my lap time down, and I forgot to take note of that. So I apologise. Might be something I'll do in the future. So I don't profess to be a commentator there. I was just going around the lap from what I remember. It was a track. Actually, I've never done a lap round there before. In all the years I've been sim racing, I had a practice obviously, but it was on the track. I didn't know it, so I just learnt it. Didn't take too long. Again, it's always going back in the days. Always seems to be better. The cars, the tracks, the games. Alright, you could argue sometimes the games it does look a little bit dated, but it plays very, very well. So that was me. That was that, and that was Marlboro. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.